Hello everyone! For today's video, I wrote a fan fiction story where Dumbledore goes into the pensive to relive the first day he met Grindelwald. My story begins directly after Dumbledore shows Harry the memory of Tom Riddle at the orphanage. The first few lines are directly from the scene in the Half-Blood Prince book, and then I transition into my fan fiction. I hope you all enjoy. Harry got to his feet. As he walked across the room, his eyes fell upon the little table on which Marvolo Gaunt's ring had rested last time. But the ring was no longer there. "Yes, Harry?" said Dumbledore, for Harry had come to a halt. "The ring's gone," said Harry, looking around. "But I thought you might have the mouth organ or something." Dumbledore beamed at him, peering over the top of his half-moon spectacles. "Very astute, Harry, but the mouth organ was only ever a mouth organ." And on that enigmatic note, he waved to Harry, who understood himself to be dismissed. Dumbledore smiled to himself as the door closed behind Harry. He took out the crystal bottle and scooped up the swirling, silvery substance that contained the memory of his first meeting with Tom Riddle. As he made his way over to the cabinet where the rest of his memories were held, he couldn't help thinking of the question Harry had asked him. Did he know? Did he know then that he had just met the most dangerous dark wizard of all time? In his heart of hearts, no. There was no way to predict the atrocities that 11-year-old boy would grow to commit. But then again, he thought, as he opened the cabinet door, where hundreds of bottles filled with swirling memories sat shimmering at him. It wasn't the first time he had met a dark wizard and been completely naive to his true nature. And his eyes fell on an old dusty bottle that he hadn't touched in 40 years. This particular memory did not shine silver like the rest. Instead, it pulsed red, like the heart that was now beating a little faster in his chest. Suddenly, temptation got the better of him as he grasped the bottle and made his way back to the pensive. He could handle this now. It had been years since he had seen or even thought of Grindelwald. And what does it matter now? I'll be dead in a matter of months. What harm can come from reliving our love one more time? The days where our feelings determined the very fate of the wizarding world have long since passed, he thought to himself, and he uncorked the bottle with trembling hands. As he poured the pulsating memory into the pensive, a mixture of fear, excitement, and nerves were swirling around in his stomach, the likes of which he hadn't felt since he was a teenager. And with one last deep breath, he dove face first into the pensive, once again falling through darkness. Seconds later, his feet hit solid ground, and he opened his eyes to find himself back in his childhood bedroom, staring at his 17-year-old self, reading a letter on his bed. All the shades were drawn. A thick layer of dust covered his furniture and trophies, and his clothes lay strewn all over the floor. It looked like he had not left his room in weeks, and he probably hadn't. This was one of the darkest times in his life. His mother and father were both dead, and he was left the responsibility of a damaged sister and a wayward brother. This was supposed to be the summer that he would shine and show the world how truly special he was. He had just graduated Hogwarts as head boy, won every award you could think of, and was seen as nothing less than the most brilliant student to ever attend Hogwarts. But instead, he was locked inside, reading letters from Elphius Doge about the adventures he was having on his tour of the world. Then, suddenly, a large crash came from the kitchen directly below him. Albus unglued his eyes from the letter he had read and reread what seemed to be 100 times. "Oh, what is it now?" he groaned as he threw Elphius's letter aside. With the pace of a sloth, he ambled out of bed and slumped out of the room to investigate the cause of the commotion. Dumbledore followed his younger self down the familiar flight of stairs, and as Albus hit the second-to-last step, he yelled out, "You know I can't leave you two alone for 5 minutes before—" But as the 17-year-old Albus turned into the kitchen, he stopped in his tracks. Dumbledore smiled because he knew exactly why. As he followed his teenage self into the kitchen, he gazed at his younger sister Ariana, his brother Aberforth, and a teenage Gelett Grindelwald. A tear ran down Dumbledore's cheek as he remembered exactly how he felt in this very moment. Like someone had lit a flame back into his life. Like anything that had happened to him before that moment no longer existed. For months, he looked at life through a gray haze, but suddenly he saw the world in technicolor. For what could have been days, Albus seemed unable to speak. But then, Grindelwald broke the silence. "Sorry about the commotion. I think I gave your sister a right fright when I walked in. My name's Gelett Grindelwald." And he stuck out his hand for Albus to shake. But Albus just stood there, goggling at Grindelwald as if he'd never seen another human before. Aberforth gave a tiny little cough that seemed to shake Albus back into reality. I'm Albert. Albus. I'm Albus." And he took Grindelwald's outstretched hand, painfully aware of just how sweaty his palm was. "Right, Albus," said Grindelwald kindly. "It's very nice to meet you. And once again, I'm very sorry about the noise." "What? No, that's okay. I love noise," said Albus hurriedly. It's always great to have some noise around to liven things up. Right, guys?" And he gestured toward Aberforth and Ariana, who were both looking at him as though they were scared for his sanity. "Right," said Aberforth. "Well, I'll let you two get to know each other. I'm taking Ariana up to bed." And, holding Ariana's hand, Aberforth swept out of the room without a second glance at the boys. Albus leaned back against the kitchen wall in what he apparently thought was a very cool and relaxed look. Dumbledore couldn't help but laugh at how foolish his 17-year-old self looked. "So, Gelett," said Albus in a forced casual tone, "what brings you to Godric's Hollow?" "Well, me Aunt Bathilda lives across the way, and I thought I'd come visit her in me summer holidays. She said that yours is the only house on the block with kids my age, so I thought I'd introduce myself." "She's not wrong," said Albus in a bitter tone. "There's no one within 40 years of me for miles around this place, and I'm stuck taking care of Tweedledee and Tweedledum up there." And he gestured up towards Ariana's room, where Aberforth was undoubtedly putting his sister to sleep. Dumbledore gave a frown as he looked down on his teenage self with shame. "I'm sorry to hear that," said Grindelwald. "A man of your talents shouldn't be locked away like some glorified caretaker. I've read your papers in Transfiguration today and Challenges in Charming. Truly revolutionary stuff." Albus slipped a little off the wall and started nervously running his fingers through his hair. "Oh, you've read those?" he said, matter-of-factly. "It's really nothing. Basic stuff." "Not the way I read it," said Grindelwald in a silvery, flattering voice. "What I read was the work of the most brilliant wizard of our generation. A wizard that should be on the front lines on our path to glory." "Path to glory?" Albus said questioningly. "What do you mean, path to glory?" But with that, Dumbledore had seen enough. With a flick of his wand, he ascended into darkness and landed back in his office, not sure if he had made the right decision in reliving that memory. Well, everyone, that's my story on Dumbledore using the pensive to relive the day he first met Grindelwald, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I love writing these Potterverse stories, so if you have a story you'd like me to write about Dumbledore checking out a memory in the pensive or any other characters, please let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you do enjoy my videos, I'd really appreciate if you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Don't forget to hit the bell next to the subscribe button so you'll be notified whenever I make a video. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next time.